Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. I never thought that human excrement and the start of the NFL season would come together so poetically, Perna. I should not be surprised, though, by the Odell Beckham Jr. alleged poop fetish, considering he was statistically speaking the Browns' number 2 receiver last year. We'll get into that. It's been a weird day in the world of football news, but the Texans and Chiefs kick off the 2020 season in 2 days, and it kills me to know that the first NFL game of my daughter's life will have to feature the mother-licking Kansas City Chiefs, which is why I have forbidden her from watching it. When she's ready to try her first steak, I'm not taking her to the Sizzler. No, she's going to the Outback Steakhouse, like a real red meat worshipping American. I will preview Texans Chiefs today, sniff through the OBJ story with colonoscopy-like precision, and touch on the Deandre Baker and the new DeAndre Hopkins contract. Any DeAndre news, I got it covered. Let's get to sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I do NFL news updates almost every day here. Today's episode is sponsored by Raycon and the Everyday E25 earbuds. Next to the affordable price of Raycons compared to other premium wireless earbuds, my favorite thing about them is their noise isolating fit. What does that mean? Well, it means they fit so nicely in your ear caverns that they block out a surprising amount of external noise. I have a new baby at home, and the only way I have been able to fall asleep at night is with my Raycons in. If I can't sleep, I can't write terrible football jokes for these videos. I even bought a pair of Everyday E25s for my writing partner, Will Keys, because he was complaining about the paper-thin walls in his apartment. And I will let you imagine what he was hearing. So go to buyraycon.com/that'sgood, select the Everyday E25 earbuds, pick a color that suits your personality, and then use these bad boys to listen to my show, or music, or a podcast, anything besides working or paying attention to other humans. The New York Football Giants finally released former first-round draft pick DeAndre Baker, as he will be busy trying to fight his 4 counts of armed robbery in the state of Florida. If convicted, he could face a 10-year minimum prison sentence, or in football terms, 1 Patrick Mahomes contract. When you trade up in the first round to draft a guy, rarely do you make it all the way down to the box that reads, "Not likely to commit armed robbery," and then check that off. It's right between the not likely to call your GM a cracker and not likely to ask to be defecated on boxes. Those questions are in the manual, though, way back on page 36 of the NFL Red Flag checklist for NFL scouts. Now, Baker is on the commissioner's exempt list, and the Giants actually upgraded their secondary by signing Logan Ryan last week. Now, I woke up this morning, not to a screaming baby, but to Odell Beckham Jr. and the Cleveland Browns trending. Nothing crazy about that, except under the Browns, also trending was Cleveland Steamers. If you don't know what that is, look it up, and make sure you're not at work. All I will say is that it's better for the girl than a Cincinnati bow tie, and it's definitely not a carpet cleaning service in Cleveland. So some woman went on some podcast and said that Odell Beckham Jr. asked her to poop on him. Is that what I have to say to make this show popular? Slander people about poop? Could you just play the tape of the source who alleged that Odell has a fecal fetish?
For me to poop on.
Now they're asking to be pooped on.
We're going to trust that left-wing gotcha journalist? Are you kidding me?
You can't, you gotta.
Odell
You can
Beckham.
keep it. Bombs!
Okay, I will tell y'all the story.
Oh, allegedly.
Allegedly. Yes, he loves to be
Tulsi.
shitted on.
Woo!
Okay, that was my first time ever. I never
You
thought...
did it? You actually
No,
did it?
I actually couldn't shit. Okay, I couldn't shit.
Oh, no, she said it. Well, she doesn't seem any more reliable than a puppet.
He was like, take a picture of me. You shouldn't. So I was like, all right, fuck, I could do that. So I took a whole video, bitch. What you want? I was like, I made it sexy as possible.
Anyway, it doesn't add up. This story doesn't make sense. From everything we have seen about Odell Beckham Jr., I would be led to believe that he is into fluids from the other side of the body. Here are my thoughts after I broke down the all-22 film of The Confession. I do not believe this woman, and I really want to. And I don't care what she said on the Thots Next Door podcast, because it might be the dumbest podcast I have ever heard. And my cousin Ralphie once sent me a 4-hour pilot episode of his podcast about the breeding habits of bedbugs. You weren't invited to my wedding for a reason, Ralphie. Stop texting me. Now, everyone who is into being pooped on knows that you only do it after an NDA has been signed. No defecation announcements. Especially if you're an athlete/celebrity. If this were true, OBJ would have had his best season after joining the Browns. Also, whatever Odell does in his bed or private jet is between him and the other consenting adults in the room. People deserve sexual privacy. I couldn't imagine how I would go on if the world found out that my fetish was strong, independent women. Yeah, girl, put on that weird cap and goggles and fly me somewhere warm and exotic, Amelia Earhart. Show me how the primates get down, Jane Good, all the way. Give me a sponge bath, Florence Nightingale, as you soak my body to the future of modern nursing, you dirty, 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 dirty lady. How could any of you keep watching this show if you knew mutual respect turns me on? I know, I'm disgusting. And finally, you know how I know Odell isn't into this? Because he Instagrammed alluding to it, and he didn't even have the courage to spell the word shit. If you're not gonna spell the word shit on Instagram, I doubt you want it on your body. Now, I'm going to be breaking down the opening NFL game involving the team that decided not to give DeAndre Hopkins an extension. The Arizona Cardinals gave the 8th-year, 3-time All-Pro receiver a new 2-year extension worth an extra $54.5 million, making him the highest-paid non-quarterback ever. More impressive is the fact that Hopkins did the deal himself and got a guaranteed whopping $42 million once he put pen to paper. Seems fair that he'll get paid that much to stay in Arizona for 5 years, as he will be playing the entire time there without a defense. A great tradition Larry Fitzgerald can now pass along to him. And no, I don't love DeAndre Hopkins just because he gives off those hot-ass Amelia Earhart vibes with those goggles. The Cardinals have been one of the trendy picks to make a jump to the playoffs this year. And Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins will have to click if that's going to happen. They will also have to somehow leapfrog either the 49ers or the Seahawks in wins, which I am skeptical about. I mean, EA Sports added Colin Kaepernick back into Madden 21 and gave him a higher quarterback rating than Kyler Murray. If there's any football grades I trust, it's the ones given by video game developing nerds, and they say Kaepernick is better than Murray. This is the first NFL game of any kind since February, though, which feels like several lifetimes ago, when we all had to sit through the 49ers blowing a fourth-quarter lead to the Chiefs. It was the catalyst for everything bad that would happen this year. Ask yourself, how many times did coronavirus shut down the world when the Chiefs didn't win a Super Bowl? Exactly. The Chiefs are raising their first banner since 1970, and while the last Super Bowl does feel like 60 years ago, the 22% of Chiefs fans that will be in the crowd at Arrowhead remember it as if it were yesterday, because they have been blackout drunk ever since, as is expected for real football fans. Welcome back to the world of sobriety, Chiefs fans. A lot's happened in the world, and I suggest you start to catch up. Now the Chiefs are hosting the Texans, who they came back to beat in the divisional round after trailing by 24 points, all snowballing from an ill-advised fake punt by Houston. This is a Houston team that will play for the first time since 2013 without DeAndre Hopkins, but with the added firepower of David Johnson and Randall Cobb. While the rest of the league gets younger and faster, the Texans zig and opt for experience and players that would get passed in the far left lane if they were cars. A safe driver is a smart driver, which keeps your insurance premiums low, says Bill O'Brien. Now, Houston lost to Kansas City by 20 points with DeAndre Hopkins on the team catching 9 balls for 118 yards. So they better hope Will Fuller can stay healthy for 60 minutes to try and replicate that production. Kansas City is favored by 9.5 points, which I think is fair because they covered that spread last January, even after spotting Houston a quick 24. The Super Bowl winner has won their Thursday night, unveiling the banner game 5 out of the last 6 years, but the Texans have the advantage of not having to battle a full, raucous Arrowhead crowd. Albeit one that will be tomahawk chopping so hard their arms might fall off, knowing this could be their last hurrah for organized racial insensitivity in that stadium. Now let's ask this question. Have these teams gotten better or worse since last season? Hard to call the Chiefs better, considering you can't really improve on being the best team, but their big addition was rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round, which should not only mitigate the loss of Damian Williams via an opt-out, but according to every fantasy nerd and draft douche, should be a major improvement and contributor to the offense right away. The biggest thing is that the Chiefs didn't lose anyone. In fact, both of these teams locked up their fourth-year quarterbacks for the long term. They didn't change coaches or schemes, and the Chiefs became the first team to start printing their own currency. Very smart. Houston's weakness in this matchup is their secondary. After Bradley Roby, there's not enough talent at corner to keep up with a Chiefs offense that's crazy deep at wide receiver. Houston actually held Tyreek Hill to 41 receiving yards in the playoffs, but because they were bracketing him the whole game, it meant giving up 130 yards and 3 touchdowns to Travis Kelce, who has been limited this week with a knee issue, so keep an eye on that. But defending the Chiefs is a pick-your-poison kind of situation, and unless you're Wesley from The Princess Bride, the Chiefs' iocane powder of skill positions will ruin your fucking day. Houston picked up just 1 sack in the last meeting, while the Chiefs got to Watson 5 times. 3 of them courtesy of Frank Clark. J.J. Watt was pretty much MIA, and that 1 sack was from Garyon Conley, not even someone who was able to beat Eric Fisher or Mitchell Schwartz one-on-one. It is worth mentioning, though, that the Chiefs will be playing without Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, MD, who is taking the season off to be a doctor, which is a hobby he likes to do in his spare time. If Odell Beckham calls you Laurent, make sure you bring your gloves for the checkup. Filling in at right guard will be Andrew Wiley, and free agent Kalichi Osemele takes over at left guard to replace Steven Wisniewski, who left for Pittsburgh in free agency. Will any of this matter, though? Maybe, but then again, you might as well call it a wash because DJ Reader left Houston, and now they're starting defensive tackle a second-round rookie Ross Blacklock. And unless the Texans go Blacklock down and blow up that interior, I think the Chiefs will have little trouble being able to hold up in the middle. If they don't, Patrick Mahomes still has the arm strength to complete passes after running 30 yards away from the interior pass rush. Sadly, I think the Chiefs win this game easily. It's hard to beat them at home, although Houston did it in the regular season last year. But the Chiefs are just too powerful and still fundamentally the same team that won it all 7 months ago. The saving grace is that nothing is guaranteed this season. And in a year where the Chiefs are favored to repeat as Super Bowl winners, the whole league could get COVID, and everything could get canceled until defensive coordinators have a chance to catch up to this Chiefs offense. Probably about the same time, we can expect a Joe Biden or Donald Trump poop scandal to swing the election in favor of the poop guy.
I made it sexy as possible.
Oh, thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on the YouTubes. Got a sub on the YouTube. That's like currency for me, baby. Wanna make that poop money? Let me make that poop scandal money. That's all I ask for that poop scandal money.